everyone, welcome back. My name's dustinkreis, and finally, a game discussion. These are becoming very few and far between. I don't know, I'm just running out of time to play games, and hopefully that will turn around here in a little bit, but I just don't know. This last week has just been super busy at work, and my counterpart in surgery was on vacation, so I basically had to work the entire week because she wasn't there to sort of, relieve me, on days off and things like that. So, been a crazy week. But I finally, this morning, finally beat this game. And it was kind of a 1-2 punch in beating this game. I beat the game, and then right as I was watching the end credits, GameStop called me about last story coming in. So I was like, it was like a double whammy of goodness. So, but yes, finally beat Secret of Mana 2 on the Super Nintendo, or as it's originally known, Seiken Densetstu 3 on the Super Famicom. And, I'm a big fan of Secret of Mana. I really do. It's one of my top Super Nintendo games of all time. Just so nostalgic. I just remember so much going through that game and playing it over and over again and just loving it, that I was just so super excited to play Secret of Mana 2 that while I really enjoyed the game, it is a bit of a disappointment for me. And it's my own fault for hyping it up and things like that. But we'll get into the reasons why when we get into it. But let me put it this way. If you're thinking about buying this game, if you've played Secret of Mana 1, if you like Secret of Mana 1, you will like Secret of Mana 2. And I'm going to refer to this, even though I know the Game Boy game, the Final Fantasy Adventure, Sword of Mana on the Game Boy Advance, is technically the first game in the series. I'm going to refer to Secret of Mana as the first game and refer to this as the second game, just because it's easier to do. So if you really like Secret of Mana 1, you will enjoy Secret of Mana 2. If you have problems with Secret of Mana, I would advise you probably, maybe just download the ROM and play that. Because, to buy the reproduction cart like this from Game Reproductions is like $60. And then to get the version from Time Walk, which would be worth it because all the fancy stuff you get is like $95. So, it really depends on what you think of Secret of Mana 1. If you really enjoyed it, I would recommend you guys seeking this out. If not, then it's kind of, I don't want to say more of the same because it kind of has a bad connotation to it. And this game is different. There is differences in this game. But for the most part, I find that Secret of Mana does everything better. So, let's go ahead and get into it and talk about it. The storyline. Now, Secret of Mana, the first game, was known for a kind of a poor storyline, poor translation, and there's a big reason for that, in that it was originally made for the Nintendo CD system that Sony was making for them. I don't know if it was called the PlayStation then or not, but what eventually became the PlayStation, Secret of Mana was developed for first. And when Nintendo decided not to go that route with the CD add-on, it became a cart-based system, and they really had to work to cram all of this stuff in here. The really beautiful graphics, the tremendous music, and then, the script. Which, the original, if I remember correctly, the original script for the game was going to be a lot more in-depth. But it's just like, with one, when they put it onto the cart, it lost a bunch. Two, when they brought it over here and translated it, it lost even more. So that's why Secret of Mana 1 has a very sparse storyline. In that, I don't know the reason why exactly, but in that, Secret of Mana 2 also kind of has a very sparse storyline. And it's very interesting how the game is structured. When you first started off, you get to pick between 6 characters. And out of those 6 characters, there are 3 main storylines. So 2 characters kind of share the same storyline, like Durin and Angela. They kind of share the same storyline. So depending on who you pick as your main character, that's the main thrust storyline you get. And then you pick your other 2 characters, you get pieces of their story as sort of a side story type thing. So it's a very ambitious way of telling a story in this game. But at the same time, it's almost like we weren't ready for this yet. Like, the technology just was not there. On the PS1, this would have been phenomenal. You know, they would have been able to branch out the storylines and really make it, really make the storylines in depth. On the cartridge itself, it kind of, I mean, the story will keep you going to see what happens next, but at the same time, like, it never drew me in like Secret of Mana 1 did. And I think that's because it doesn't really focus on those three characters. Like, it tells you their story and stuff like that, but I never felt like they were the focus. Like, in the original game, like, the kid, the girl, and the sprite, I mean, it was just like, it was their story. Whereas when you play this, and you're playing as whatever three characters you choose, it really feels like you're playing a smaller part of a huge story. And, you know, once I go back and replay the game with the other characters and change up my parties and things like that, I might really start enjoying the story more than I did. Like I said, it's not a bad story. It's just kind of, I mean, it's a fan translation, one. And with the way that the game is kind of set up with you choosing your characters, it kind of has to tell a sparse story in order to have, you know, all six characters different sort of threads on the cart. It's just a space issue, really. But in a lot of ways, this feels like a prequel, and I've looked up information to try to find out if that's true. Didn't really see anything that says it's a prequel, but if you remember in Secret of Mana, there's a lot of technology in that game, whereas in this game it's more medieval, more magic-based, things like that. So it does definitely feel like a prequel. And the story it tells, the main big story, is about how the goddess fought these 8 god beasts and sealed them into mana seeds. And she went to sleep and turned into the great mana tree. So it really does feel like maybe like this isn't definitely not the first storyline in the Mana series, because I think Heroes of Mana is a prequel to this. But it does tell sort of the origin of the mana tree and things like that. So it makes it feel like this takes place before the first Secret of Mana. And basically what happens in the game, depending on what character you pick, it kind of sets up different storylines. But eventually, some evil guy, one out of 3 evil guys, is trying to destroy the mana tree and reawaken the 8 mana beasts. And of course create chaos and world destruction and things like that. And it's up to our intrepid heroes to stop them. And that's really all the storyline is. There's some, you know, smaller interpersonal things with characters and NPCs, depending on who you have in your party. But for the most part, it's really kind of dealing with, you know, collecting or sealing the mana stones or the mana seeds and fighting off the evil guys. I mean, it's not a really intricate storyline, so go into it knowing that. Let's go ahead and talk about the gameplay, because while the gameplay is extremely similar to Secret of Mana, it's also vastly different in a lot of ways. Okay, let's just talk about, because there's so much to talk about, the ring system. That was the big thing about Secret of Mana, was the ring system. Pressing the Y button, bringing up the rings, you know, cycling through them, all that stuff. It's still here, but it's kind of scaled back a bit, in that really the only thing you use the ring system for is your items and your spells. Everything else you have to press a different button and go into a clunky menu system to like equip your weapons and things like that. And it took me a very long time to get used to that, because it just felt like the ring system in Secret of Mana 1 was so much more streamlined. You know, you just go to, you know, there was a weapon ring, there was a menu ring that you could do all your equipping and stuff like that. It just felt so much easier to do things in Secret of Mana 1 and not go into this sort of this weird menu screen. It's really difficult to kind of figure out how to use it sometimes. So the ring system has been scaled back. It kind of does feel like a step back from the first Mana game. Also, your characters, you have 6 characters, and they all have weapons. You know, like in the first game, you could switch weapons between your characters. Like, you could have the hero use the whip, and you could have the girl use a sword. Well, in this one, like, Durin has a sword, Hawk has knives, and the sprite character, I can't remember her name, she has a whip, a flail, things like that. So that kind of interplay between the characters is gone as well. And on one hand, it really helps you kind of focus down on certain things with your characters, but it kind of, I don't know, it kind of takes away some of the variety of the original game, whereas you could, you had to meet different obstacles with different weapons. Like there's no having to throw the whip across to catch a stick and pull yourself across and things like that. A lot of the interplay with the stages has really been taken out because of that, and I didn't really care for that. I really kind of wish that I could have changed the equipment around more and things like that. You can no longer charge up your attacks like you do in Secret of Mana 1. In Secret of Mana 1, you just hold down the attack button, and eventually it'll start filling up this bar to create a super attack. In this, what you do, you just attack enemies, and with each successful attack, it fills up your bar down below, and then you can press the B button and unleash a super attack of varying degree. Like there's 3 different degrees that you can do that with. I like that in that I never really had time in Secret of Mana to really charge up my attacks to like 8 of 8. So in this, it really does feel like a much more streamlined thing. I do like the new way to charge up attacks. What else? There's something I'm missing. Oh, class changes. I really like this about the game too, in that you have a lot of control over your character. You change classes twice in the game, and you do have a lot of choice over how you want to make your character progress. There's several different jobs you can learn. You start off, let's just talk about Durin. You start off with Durin as a fighter. Now, when you get to a certain point, it's like level 18, and then you have to have a certain item to do it. You can change classes. And it gives you a choice between 2 classes, light or dark, okay? So you can either choose like Gladiator or something else. I can't remember what the other one was. Knight. Gladiator or Knight. I chose Gladiator, which is the dark path, okay? So as you move forward in that path, once again you can change classes, and it gives you 2 more choices. So in essence, you have 2 and then 6. So there's 7 jobs total that you can have. You can only progress in one path linearly. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if you pick Gladiator, you can't go back and pick Knight. You can't interchange like that. Whatever you choose, you're stuck with. So I really like that aspect of it. That there's that nice progression of, and your characters do really feel stronger after you do the class changes. Magic is a bit different in this game in that in the first game, when you found the spirits, you'd have them in your ring. So you'd go like choose Jinn, and then you'd go into Jinn's spells. You can use different spells from Jinn. It doesn't really work that way. Basically, the characters are on a set path, and they learn spells according to their jobs. So that was kind of a little bit weird, and I didn't really care for that as much. But other than those things, the gameplay is really similar to Secret of Mana. And I know that seems like, well, they changed the entire game. How can it be similar? But, running around on the map screens and calling Flammy and things like that, and the way you attack, it really does feel very similar. So I do have some nitpicks with it, but overall, I still really enjoyed the game. It still really felt like Secret of Mana. It's just, it had some tweaks and some different things. It's like kind of like Final Fantasy, like in the PlayStation 1 days, where it still felt like Final Fantasy, but it just felt like a different Final Fantasy. You know what I mean? So there's that. The graphics are gorgeous. They're absolutely gorgeous, though I feel they have a darker color palette than Secret of Mana. Secret of Mana 1 had very bright, vibrant colors. Just gorgeous, gorgeous colors. And this one, while it still has that really nice, bright vibrancy to it, it's also a little bit, the palette's a little bit drawn back. It's a little bit more realistic, colored than the candy coloredness of Secret of Mana 1. So there is that. The sprites are absolutely amazing in this game, especially like the bosses you fight. They're just so impressive. They fill up the screen so much. It's really astounding. One of the things graphically that I actually really loved is when you finally get Flammy and you're flying around and just watching his animation as he flies through the air is just, I mean, it's just really nice animation. Really good. I really enjoyed it. But yeah, graphically, it's on par, if not a little bit better than Secret of Mana 1. It just has a reduced color palette. It just looks a bit more subdued, I guess, is the word. And finally, we're going to talk about the music, which, again, Secret of Mana has just such iconic tracks, you know. The opening title track that you listen to is so somber and so sad. And then the first, when you first start exploring the world, that overworld theme is just, it's so ingrained in my head. It's one of the great overworld themes of video games. This one has really nice music, but I don't know, maybe it's just that I played Secret of Mana 1 so many times over and over again. It's so ingrained in my head. None of the tracks really stood out from this game. That being said, the music is still really good. It's just not as good as Secret of Mana 1. And, you know, I think that's what you can say about Secret of Mana 2 or Seiken Densetstu 3, however you want to say it. It is a really good game, but it's just not as good as Secret of Mana. And maybe that's just nostalgia talking, but, you know, if Secret of Mana is a 9, this is an 8. You know, for me anyway. Some people might play this and have a lot more problems with it than I did, but really enjoyed it. If you're looking into getting it, I would highly suggest you download the ROM and try it out first, because I don't want you to spend a lot of money on this if you're not going to enjoy it, because this is kind of a niche thing, buying these reproductions. If you do buy a reproduction, I would highly suggest you go to Time Walk Games and at least look at what you get for the $95 that you spend, because for $65, this is what you get from GameReproductions.com. Kind of a repossessed, beat up. I'm assuming this was like a Madden or a you know, baseball game or something like that before it was Secret of Mana 2. But you know, that's all you get. It's just the cart. With Time Walk, you get a box, you get a manual, you get a map, you get all this other stuff. So it really kind of is worth the extra $30 to get the really nice package deal. I really wish I would have bought the Time Walk versions of these games. But if you didn't, you can still buy the boxes and the manual and the maps from Time Walk for like $30. So that's probably what I'm going to do. But, you know, I would highly suggest you go online or go purchase the Super Famicom, you know, version and try it out. You know, you won't have to know the storyline. You can usually find these for really cheap, and it'll give you an idea of what the gameplay's like. And then from there you can go into this or something like that. But yeah. I mean, it's kind of sad to say because I was so looking forward to this, but I really did enjoy my time with it, and I really do like it, and I will play it again. But I think, you know, because it was the next game after Secret of Mana, I was expecting them to take everything that Secret of Mana was and just refine it and make it better. And really, a lot of the things are kind of just the same, and a lot of the things, they tried a new idea, and it just didn't work as good as what was going on in the first game. So there you have it, guys. I know it kind of sounds like a downer, and I don't know how to really make it sound any way other than that, but I really did enjoy the game. I mean, I really did. And, you know, like I said, it's just, I think Secret of Mana 1's better. So, I don't know how to bring it back. It sounds like I'm so depressed right now, and I'm not depressed. I really did enjoy my time with it. I think it was a great purchase. I just wish I would have purchased the Time Walk version and not the Game Reproductions version. But, anyway, guys, that's it for this game discussion. Other than that, I just want to thank all of you guys out there for just the overwhelming response that you guys have given the podcast. I never thought that you guys would have liked it as much as you did. But I'm really excited to move forward with this podcast thing. Really surprised at how many people are like, dude, I want to be on the podcast. How do I be on the podcast? So right now, as we're doing this monthly, it's going to be a while before we get to all of you guys. So please, if you're not getting asked for a while to be on the podcast, don't take that as a slight against you, because I really do want all of you guys on there. It's just going to take time to get through everybody. You know what I mean? Also, and this is kind of a sad thing to say, I feel like the channel, you know, having this channel and having it, you know, I have like 300 and some subscribers. And then also with the podcast channel now, things are just getting kind of to the point where, unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to reply to every comment on videos anymore. And that's really, I mean, it really kind of upsets me to say that, because it was a point of pride that I tried to, you know, maybe I didn't get 100% on all the videos, but I got close to 95, you know. And it's just getting to the point with work and life, and then with the trying to play games and make the videos, make the podcasts, put them up. It's just getting to the point where I'm just not going to be able to reply to everything. PMs, I'll still reply to PMs because I don't get as many PMs, but just comments on videos. If I don't reply to your comment, please don't take it to mean that I don't like you. It's just, it really is like I wake up in the morning and get ready for work, and I spend like half an hour replying to comments. And while I enjoy doing that, it's getting to be a huge time sink. And yeah, so sorry. I mean, it's great that this channel's going as far as it has, but at the same time, I'm starting to see how other people have problems once they get into like having a lot of subscribers. So I'll reply to the ones that I feel like really need replied to, and then there might be, because some people just write like, you know,